Chicago Bears Now is presented by Manscaped. If you want to have the best men's grooming products out there, Manscaped is the place for you. Maybe you're like me and you tried a bunch of different razors downstairs. You got some razor burn. You cut yourself. No one likes that, especially near the family jewels. Trust me, try Manscaped out. The Lawnmower 4.0 is fantastic. It'll keep it nice and clean downstairs. 20% off, manscaped.com. Use that promo code BEARS20. Okay, today's show, David Montgomery replacements. First, let's take a look at the injury update here. He's got a sprained knee, which actually is pretty good because there was some fear it could have been an ACL tear. That is not the case. He is expected to miss 4 to 5 weeks, according to Dan Graziano and others. And obviously the Bears are a little thin at running back now because they're without Tariq Cohen, who remains on the pup list, and we don't know if or when he's going to come back. I'm not super convinced it's going to be anytime soon, especially after the Jakeem Grant trade. So now, without David Montgomery, you're a little thin there. You've got Damien Williams, you've got Khalil Herbert. This obviously could have been worse. This could have been a tear ACL, MCL, could have been season ending. Instead, it's a sprained knee, which obviously isn't great. It's still a big blow, but it could have been disastrous for this Bears offense because, let's be honest, when David Montgomery gets going, this offense is much better. There's just no doubt about that. That's been the case for the past couple of years. Now, if you hate injuries, spam H in the live chat. In the comment section, go ahead and type H. No one likes injuries. I hate this for Monty, but at least he's going to get to return, somewhere around week 10, it sounds like, maybe week 9, if all things progress nicely. So type H if you hate injuries, but luckily this wasn't as bad as it could have been. Because you look at what Monty's done, 69 carries, very nice, 309 yards, 4.5 yards per tilt, and then 3 touchdowns. I mean, this has been one of the premier running backs in the National Football League so far this year. So losing him to injury is obviously not ideal. You kind of look at where you sit now, and let's see where this goes from here. Damien Williams, who's banged up with the thigh bruise, he becomes RB1. I think he'll be able to play on Sunday. Khalil Herbert all of a sudden becomes your backup. Tariq Cohen's on the pup. Montgomery's going to be out. I think Ryan Nall is a guy that I would expect to get activated, at least for game day, from the Bears practice squad. But what I want to know from you is, should the Bears sign a running back? Simple yes or no question. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Should the Bears sign a running back to help bolster this depth chart? Go ahead and get your votes in right now down in the comments. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with the YouTube ad break, go ahead and answer this question. Now, Chicago Bears Now is presented by Manscaped. The Lawnmower 4.0 is an absolutely fantastic product, and you guys need to go to manscaped.com and use the promo code BEARS20 to get 20% off. You see this product right here? We're putting it on screen. It's absolutely fantastic. It's got 4 adjustable guards, a wireless charging station. You can shave your balls in the shower because it's waterproof. It's got a light on there as well. You can reach those tough-to-see spots right there. You see the price difference with that promo code BEARS20. I'm a big fan of Manscaped. It's changed my life, and hey, my wife, she likes it as well, because one time early on in dating, we're trying to have some fun, and she was a little mortified by what she saw. So I hit up Manscaped. They hooked me up. They helped me out. The same can happen for you. Manscaped.com. Use promo code BEARS20. That's going to get you 20% off plus free shipping at checkout. Okay, shout out to Manscaped for sponsoring today's show, which is David Montgomery replacements. We've looked at the injury diagnosis, 4 to 5 weeks, kind of where the depth chart sits. So now we're going to look at some external options, and then, of course, the internal options of what the Bears could do at the running back position to help bolster this unit. So let's jump into it. We'll look at 3 free agents here to start. Number 1, Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, he's obviously a very, very big name for the running back position, but Todd Gurley is not 2017 Todd Gurley anymore. He's, his knees are just not what they were. It's just as simple as that. Todd Gurley is a player that is good in short yardage. He can still score touchdowns, but his knees are shot. He's had arthritis issues. He doesn't have that burst anymore. He's been basically a non-factor in the receiving game the past couple of years as well. You look at his numbers last year with the Atlanta Falcons. Like I said, you like the touchdowns, 9, but on almost 200 carries, he averaged 3.5 yards per tilt. He just doesn't give you explosive plays. Now, for a few weeks, could he come in and, eat some carries and do a little something? Perhaps, but if you think you're getting elite delete Todd Gurley, you're just wrong. I mean, that's just not what he brings to the table at this point in time. So big name, his knees are shot. I don't like that. But he is someone that is out there. I know he's worked out for some teams as well. So maybe, just maybe, the Bears give Mr. Todd Gurley a call, give him a workout, and see if they feel like he is worth bringing on to this Bears offense. What do you think? Do you want Todd Gurley? Type S for sign him, type P for pass. Say, no, he's no good. I don't want him. I would probably pass, to be fair. I mean, I'd rather play Damien Williams and Khalil Herbert over him. So those are kind of my thoughts. S for sign, P for pass. Do you want Todd Gurley? Well, that might be a question. Hopefully our coverage here at Chicago Bears Now is undisputed, and it's fantastic. We're plugging out videos all the time. Just a few hours ago, we broke down the Jakeem Grant trade, or I should say on Tuesday morning. A lot of you folks might be watching this video on Wednesday. Go check that out, my thoughts on the Jakeem Grant trade. Also, we cover the latest Chicago Bears news and rumors as well. This is our Monday video thumbnail. A lot of stuff on the quarterback position and Matt Nagy. And then every week we go live for a watch party. This last one, Bears versus Lions, was a lot of fun as well. Had some technical issues, had to cut out early, but it was still a good time. And we'll be back this week. So youtube.com/BearsNow. This is the channel for you for Chicago Bears news and rumors all season long. So subscribe and do not miss any of our coverage here on the channel. Okay, next replacement, Adrian Peterson, who played with the Lions last year, so the Bears are familiar with him in the NFC North. Obviously, all those years in Minnesota as well. Maybe he makes the rounds in the North and ends up in Chicago now. Peterson's actually aged pretty well, guys. I kind of like what Adrian Peterson has been able to do later in his career. Now, he's certainly old. I think he's 35, 36 now. I mean, he certainly doesn't have a ton left in the tank, but he was more effective than Todd Gurley last year, yards per carry, almost 4 per, had 7 touchdowns. You know, just don't give him a switch. You don't want that to happen. But Adrian Peterson is certainly still an effective running back. That was a bad joke. I'll just say that. But he's still good. They call him AD for all day. And hey, by the way, it's AD, not AP. The real ones know. 3.9 yards per carry last year. You could do worse than Adrian Peterson at the end of the day. And honestly, if you want to do worse, go pick up Le'Veon Bell. I mean, Le'Veon Bell stinks, but he's a name. He's out there. He's on the Ravens practice squad. You know, if you want to go bring him on board, I guess you could convince him. You'd probably have to sell him on the, hey, you're going to be on the active roster the rest of the season. Otherwise, he'll probably just hang out in Baltimore. Yeah, you know, he might be my least favorite option of the 3 that I've mentioned here. I'd probably rather have AD and then Todd Gurley before Le'Veon Bell. I thought when Lev Bell got a chance with the Chiefs last year, he was going to play pretty well, and he stunk. So I'm not that high on him. He got called up from the practice squad last week for Baltimore, 4 carries, 11 yards. I mean, that's just, you know, it's not that good. And that's with a good running scheme in Baltimore. So, you know, he's a name. If you're feeling good about Lev Bell, then go get him. But I personally am, you know, not super thrilled with that idea. So these options aren't great, but what do you think? Pick one. Type TG for Todd Gurley, type AD for Adrian Peterson all freaking day, or type LB for Le'Veon Bell. Get your votes in right now down in the comments section on which running back you would like to sign if it was down to these 3. Some other external options to replace David Montgomery, a couple of free agents as well. Frank Gore, who is an older guy, says he's trying to get into boxing. Not sure he actually wants to play, but good short yardage back and obviously would have some locker room value. Duke Johnson, more of a guy who could catch the ball out of the backfield, be more of a third down type of running back. He could be a target. Marlon Mack has been connected to NFL trade rumors. He seems to be available according to the Colts, as they have obviously moved on with Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. I wouldn't give up more than a 6th or 7th round pick for Mack, but if it's a cheap trade, I could be interested in that option. Now let's shift to internal candidates. Obviously, Damien Williams becomes RB1. Assuming that thigh bruise isn't a major issue, he should be your lead running back, at least for the next few weeks. We'll see how much he plays on Sunday with that thigh bruise coming out of the last game. But so far, so good on all accounts. We'll see how much he actually practices this week. It also means Khalil Herbert could get more opportunities over the next month or so. He's been primarily just used as the kick returner, but I think you could see Jakeem Grant take over that role role. That way Herbert doesn't risk injury on special teams, since he'll likely be the number 2 running back. I'm excited to see what juice we can see out of Herbert, because we saw a lot of that in the preseason. Artavis Pierce was brought back on Tuesday to the practice squad. He was protected for this upcoming game against the Raiders, so he cannot be poached by another team. No surprise, I would expect he's elevated for game day there. The Bears know him. They're familiar with him. He was active for some games a year ago. Then, of course, Ryan Nall, who's been a mainstay in Chicago for a while, kind of that running back, fullback hybrid, special teams value as well. He's on the practice squad this year. He was also protected for this upcoming game, so another team cannot poach him. So Nall and Pierce could one or both be elevated from the practice squad for this upcoming game against the Raiders, and then we'll see if they factor in, over the next several weeks as well. And with Monty set to miss 4 or 5 games, you look at the next 5 weeks before the Week 10 bye. At Vegas this Sunday, come back home against the Packers, at Tampa Bay, come back home for the 49ers, and then at Pittsburgh for Monday Night Football. Tough stretch here. I mean, you're hoping to win 2 or 3 of these games. Obviously, 4 or 5 would be great, but that's a very, very tough stretch. All 5 of those teams could contend, although the Pittsburgh Steelers have kind of fallen off. That almost feels like a game you're going to need to go and win on the road at this point. So what's the Bears' record going to be over the next 5 games? Predict it for me down in the comments. Will they go 1-4, 2-3, 0-5, 5-0? Let us know how you feel about the Bears' chances over the next 5 games and what their record will be. You can also subscribe. I want to remind you guys to hit that big red button. We'll continue to plug out the latest Bears news, rumors, and as things happen, injury updates, trades like with the Jakeem Grant trade video that we put out within minutes of that trade happening, we'll have you guys covered. Hit that sub button and do not miss any of our coverage here at Chicago Bears Now.